Okay, so I'm here with Amy Scully, double world champion from IMMAFs. It's been a fantastic year for you. But to get to where you are and become a double champ of the IMMAFs, which is a huge, huge accolade for yourself, your gym and people involved, where did you start? What brought you into MMA? And thank you very much for your time as well.
Thank you for having me. Well, it all started when I was just too bad at football and hockey and all that in school, and like I was getting bullied out of that. And my brother was doing MMA up in SBG, and my mum wanted me to do something just to keep fit. So she threw me into jiu-jitsu up in Gracie Baja and Dundrum. And then I was actually not too bad at that. So I kept at it and started competing, and I loved competing. So just kept at it, and then over COVID, all the gyms closed. So I just started hitting the bag at home, and I was like, can maybe mix this together, see what MMA is like. And then when I came back after COVID, started training SBG, and then yeah, the rest is history.
And obviously you went to SPG, your brother was there. Was that the only reason, or was it the likes? Obviously you got John Kavanagh, Conor McGregor, Kiefer Crosby, the women that have come out. You've got Danny McCormick, Sinead Kavanagh. Did they have a factor and an influence on your decision, or was it more so just the kind of family thing?
I think it was just a family thing. Like, I just wanted to go somewhere where at least I had my brother there with me, you know what I mean? Because usually when I go into places, it's like, I do get a bit nervous and stuff like that. It's always nerve-wracking going somewhere new, so I was like, I'll go where my brother goes and see where it takes me, and yeah, I'm glad I did.
And like that, you had done jiu-jitsu beforehand, so you'd been in a gym environment, but going to an MMA gym, some people find kind of overwhelming, and I know you had your brother there. What was like, talk to us about your first day in SBG and how welcoming it is, because there's this misconception of MMA gyms that it's all meatheads, it's all violence. It's not. I find them one of the most welcoming places you can come across. What was your perception going in? And then what was the actual outcome of you going in, and what was the big differences you found?
Well, to be honest, the first day, I was in the teens class, and it definitely wasn't the most welcoming. I had like neon orange hair, and I kind of stood out. You know, I was wearing like bright rash guard and stuff like that, and I definitely stood out. And I kind of smashed a couple of the boys on the first day, so I don't think they liked me very much, because I was just some newcomer looking kind of weird coming in. But after the first couple of weeks, and especially once I moved up to the adults and started training the pro class, like the likes of Richie and Gary really took me in and started like looking after me, and they're kind of the people then that welcome me the most.
Yeah, and we've seen throughout your career thus far that Gary and Richie have been are a big part of your team. Talk to us about Gary. We all know kind of Gary Rooney and Richie Smullen as fighters. Talk to them about coaches and mentors and friends and training partners and what they mean to you.
Well, like, you know, especially like Richie's my biggest inspiration. Like, he trains so hard. I see the work he does, and he inspires me to work hard. Like, he's pushed me to my limits again and again and again, and he sees the fighter that I could become. From day one, like, I was looking back on videos of our first like lesson together, and I was like so bad. I don't know what he saw, but he saw something that I couldn't see, and like he believed in me, and he's turned me into an animal. Like, the stuff he'd put me through was tough sessions up in Arklow where I'd want to cry. But, you know, like, he believed in me, and it made me the athlete I've become today. So I'm so grateful for that, and I just look up to him as, you know, a great mentor and coach.
Yeah, and like that, you've done extremely well so far in your career, and I think you're going to you've got a very bright future ahead of you as well. I believe as well, once you kind of won the medal last year, you had to go back to you went back to your school, was it?
Yeah, I was back to school, yeah.
What was that like?
It was grand, like, it was just finish off school, you know. I had to lock in for the last couple of weeks and got a decent leaving cert. That was one of the conditions, you know, if I wanted to keep doing MMA, I needed to be able to have other options. So I just put the energy that I put into studying, or into training, into studying for a couple of weeks, and managed to get like a decent enough leaving cert, finished that, but it didn't change much. Like, it was same.
But what was it like going back with the gold medal, like into the school? Were people like, wow, did they realise you'd done this sort of thing?
No, I'd finished school by the time I got the gold medal. I got the silver medal when I came back to school, yeah. So it was, no, people didn't really care that much. I don't think anyone took me seriously until after I finished school, and then after I won the gold medal. Then I got people from school texting me being like, oh, well done, stuff like that. But beforehand, no, I don't think. Some of them took me seriously, but most people didn't.
No. And that's to say, you always find that when people are coming up, people will kind of not dismiss what you're doing, but they won't pay attention. But all of a sudden, when you start doing well,
when you start winning, then people start messaging you. And even like, I feel like being a girl and also being tiny, like a lot of the lads in school, like, they're not gonna, you know, they're gonna be like, oh, like, I can beat you in a fight anyways or whatever. So it's just, I had to prove them all wrong, and now they're all like, well done. So that's that.
I think especially with young males as well, it's an ego thing.
Yeah.
They don't want to be seen giving props to a female that is smaller, that I'm not going to lie to you, you're probably going to beat their ass. You're probably going to choke them out.
I'm confident I could.
But talk to us about your first ever competition. The nerves, the lead up to it, the preparation, and kind of your thoughts going into it, because obviously you've done so many now, but I'm interested to see what your mindset was going into the first one.
MMA.
MMA.
Well, it was the first youth one I did was actually down in Cork for the Nationals, and I had no one in my division, and I'd literally only started in SBG that summer, and it was down, like, it was around this time, probably, what was it, 4 years ago now, and there was no one in my division, so I had to go up to the 61 kilo division. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll just say see what happens. So I weighed in at like 45, like I wasn't even like at weight, like I weighed in at like 45 kilos, I was tiny. And then I came in and I beat the two of them, so I got the gold medal, and I was well impressed with myself. So I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to keep going at this. You know what I mean, I loved being able to punch. Like, you couldn't do headshots, but it was cool to be able to mix everything up, throw a couple kicks, and it just made me hungry to keep going, to be honest.
I can imagine it did, and especially like going into 45 in the 61 category. It just shows, because a lot of people have that conversation, does strength outweigh skill? And in jiu-jitsu it doesn't seem to, because and what is the reasons for that? For people that might not understand, explain, like, because you can manipulate parts. You can explain this better than me.
I mean, you can manipulate parts. You can use their strength against them. Almost sometimes it's an advantage because they're so much stronger. They can push into you, and you can just manipulate their body to move a certain way. Like, I'd say if there was headshots, could have been a different story with the fight. Big smack in the head by someone 15 kilos heavier than you would probably be a lot worse. But I had my jiu-jitsu, and it was just, you're able to use, turn the corner even on takedowns and stuff like that. Like, it doesn't matter if they're much bigger than you. You can usually, if you have the skills, you can kind of get your way through it.
Yeah, because we seen up in Limavady, we seen Leon Davis, who's one of the kind of jiu-jitsu guys coming out at the minute. I remember he done a thing with Emmanuel Thompson, who does Prospect MMA, and there's the vast difference in weight, and I think he subbed him. I don't want to embarrass Emmanuel. I think it was like 9 times in 5 minutes or something like that.
That's it.
But Emmanuel done it on the basis of being able to show people that this is what can be done. But you talked about your weight there as well. So, like, how hard is it for you to find now matches regionally? Because you've only, I believe it's only one regional that
I only have one regional fight, that's it.
And how hard is it for you to find fights? Because it's such there's very few in the country at that weight, and one of them is actually your teammate as well. So how hard is it for you to find matches regionally? It's
definitely difficult, like, because even now, especially now being double world champ, like, a lot of people that are there, they don't want to fight me either. So I'm trying to find anyone that I can, but I'm moving up a weight class up to 52, so get a bit bigger and hopefully get a couple more fights, even in the UK or something like that. But it's been pretty dreadful so far trying to find fights. Even before the Worlds last year was my first amateur fight, and I was looking for fights the entire year, and I couldn't find anyone. So that's why I like the IMMAF. You're able to get, I got 3 fights in last week, and you can kind of get a couple of them in at once, so I don't have to wait months.
Yeah, because I'd say as a fighter, that's frustrating because you've done jiu-jitsu, you've learned to mix in the MMA with it, you've gone to a good gym, you have a good crew around you, and then being able to get the competition time is something that obviously you struggle with. So talk to us about your first ever IMMAF competition, because like I said, that your first amateur fight was IMMAF. What was that like? Was that daunting going into it, or were you just happy to get matched?
I was just happy to have fights, to be honest. I wish I had more. I only had 2 last year to get the gold, so I wish I had more. But whatever way the brackets turned out, I ended up getting a bye. But like, I was excited. Like, definitely nervous, but I feel like I don't get nervous where I'm like dreading it. I get nervous that I'm just like, I want to get in the cage and just kind of show that, like, all my hard work, because I put so much hard work in, I just want to be able to showcase. I don't get to showcase it enough, and I'm glad I was able to, get in and show it last year and this year.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've watched your IMMAFs, and I've watched obviously the fight you had regionally, but I've never seen you kind of compete live in MMA. I've seen you compete at Cage Legs against Lisa Houston in grappling. And the likes of that, the grappling at the likes of Cage Legs and stuff, was that kind of stuff just to get you into an event type of arena? Because obviously the IMMAFs and just say Cage Legs, Cage Conflict, Clan War Show, they're different, because IMMAF, you've got the loads of mats going, or loads of cages going, whereas this is more of an event type thing. Were you doing that to kind of get used to the event type of thing, or was it just to keep busy?
Richie just wanted me to get more experience, like doing the whole walk and getting to the cage. It's a whole thing, like, it's very different. Even coming into my finals fight in the IMMAFs, like, you get like a proper walkout and everything. Like, that was completely different to the other 2 fights that week. It is something that, like, it's a lot more daunting, and you're looking up at everyone, and like in the IMMAFs they had about like 10,000 people there. It was full of people, all from all Uzbekistan, locals and stuff, because it was just, they could just all come in and watch. So, and even with Clan Wars, like that was definitely like, you know, I mean, it almost like fueled me up, because everyone down there was kind of like supporting me, because it was me and Gary on the card. So, you know, we kind of had everyone kind of supporting each other. But yeah, it's completely different to just having to do the IMMAFs.
Yeah, no, I was talking to someone the other day. They said sometimes when they done from doing a regional show, then they went to the IMMAFs, they felt like, not that they warmed up, but after doing regional shows, they felt a bit flat going in, because there was no walkout.
No, there's nothing.
You just kind of go out. There's 2 other cages competing. It's just silence, and then the cage door closes. And you went, oh, it's goal time.
Yeah.
But obviously you came in through the IMMAFs. Talk to us about the first medal you won, what it meant to you, and did you envision winning it going into the tournament?
The first Worlds?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely envisioned winning it. Coming up to it though, I split my knee open in my first spar. So like it was fully split open, and whatever way the stitches were put in, they weren't put in like properly. So I literally couldn't bend my knee for like 6 weeks. And it was still open coming like flying over to Albania for the World. So that was definitely something that like made me feel a little bit more like nervous kind of coming into it. Like I was like, oh, have I done enough? And stuff like that. But being able to go in there, be still injured, like my knee opened back up after the first one, so I had to wear a knee brace for the second one, so they didn't see it. They wouldn't stop the fight. But being able to win the medal, like it was the best feeling. Like I cried straight away. Like it was the best feeling ever. And I just remember seeing my mum in the stands as well, and I was just like, do you know what I mean? Everything I do is for her and make her proud, and you know, hopefully be a good pension for her one day. But no, it was amazing. It was the best day of my life.
And that's pretty cool, because we know these IMMAF tournaments is not funded. We were speaking just before on camera. Conor McGregor helped not you personally, but helped everyone out, and he's helped at previous times before. To have your mother at an event like that is because that's costing her time, money, stuff like that. How does that feel because she is your biggest supporter?
Yeah.
How does it feel for you to have her there with you for these moments?
It feels amazing. It's nice just to have someone that's, you know, raised me since I was a kid, like just being there and seeing like the person I've become. Like I'm an adult now. I'm not a little baby anymore, and you know, I'm just showing her that, you know, she's raised a good kid, and you know, I'm gonna make her proud.
Oh, and you definitely are so far, and there's plenty more to come. But you did have a loss. You have got a loss. Talk to us, because you'd been on such a run, and you were, like you said, you were beating people that was 61 kg. You were going in and you were doing all this win. What was the first loss like? How did you take that? Did it mentally drain you, or did you just know it's part of the game? Talk to us about your feelings.
To be honest, I just felt angry. That was kind of the main emotion that I felt. I just felt angry just with myself. You know, like I came out and it was like 45 seconds and I was submitted, like it was, you know, like that, you know, so it was definitely like a horrible, horrible feeling. But I just remember immediately just feeling angry and getting back to the gym then that Monday and just like training really, really hard, just because I was just like so disappointed in myself. Like, yeah, I just felt horrible, but I kind of just turned it into motivation that I'm never going to let something like that happen to me again. Not that quick anyways, you know, it's just, it definitely was a blow.
Yeah, and like that, especially if someone had said to me, if it wasn't there on the records, I would have said that didn't happen to Amy Scully, obviously because of your background. But what I liked about what you said there was that you just went back into the gym and started training. Do you think sometimes amateurs take losses too hard? And like, because when you win, you're back to training. Yeah, maybe you might take the Monday off. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I was back Tuesday. I was here on Tuesday night anyways, so and I came back on the Monday.
And I think when you win, you're back in nearly straight away. Do you think sometimes amateurs take the loss too hard and feel sorry for themselves? Because you just need to get back in. Whether it's a win or loss, you need to just get back in and keep improving. What would your advice be to someone who's takes their first loss?
Well, realistically, like, a loss as an amateur, they don't mean anything. Like, I was angry just at myself, but I wasn't going to feel sorry for myself and start moping about and, you know, thinking it's the end of the world. No, like, when I go pro, you know, in a couple of years' time and I'm winning there or even losing there, no one's going to think about that fight way back when I lost. So it doesn't matter. You just have to keep going and not stop. Because if you let something like that stop you now, you're not going to be able to make it when you're a pro.
Yeah, no, and I really like the attitude at such a young age, and it's got to do with your surroundings between your family and your coaches and your training partners that have kind of instilled that mentality into you. And obviously it was in you already, but they amplify it. One of the things I like about you, before we go on to just the last words as well, was a lot of people ask me what you think I should do for promotion, and I kind of send them to your content because I think what you've done is quite unique. I think you and yourself is quite... You won't find another fighter or personality like you. I think you're quite unique. There's no other Amy Scully. And just the way you present yourself, online and promote yourself, I think is just absolutely fantastic. What brought that on, and what kind of process is it to get these videos out? Because it might only be a minute video, but that's a couple of hours in recording. Talk to us about why you started doing that and the effect it's had on your following and stuff like that.
I started doing it just because I wanted more fights. Like, I felt like if I had a following and people wanted to come and support me, then shows would be more interested in having me on their card, because if I can show I have a bunch of people behind me that will buy tickets and stuff like that, then it might make them more inclined to kind of work a bit harder to try and match me. So I started with that. I just wanted to get a bit more of a following, have a base, and also for when I go pro, like, followers are currency. Like, if no one knows who you are when you go pro, then it's going to be, you're building yourself up for when you go pro. Whereas I want to be already built up before I go pro, that people know who I am and kind of what I'm about, so that when I do go pro, I have a couple more options. So that's how it started. Just doing the little vlog, showing people what I do every day. Also just to show people that, I train really hard and, I put everything into the sport. Like, I'm not just, I don't know, I feel like there's not enough people who are taking me seriously. Maybe it's the haircut. But I just wanted to show people, like, the hard work I put in, like, every day, and just let people, like, step into my life and see what I do. And also inspire people then to train, hard themselves, even if it's not in MMA and whatever they're interested in. But that's how I started then doing those videos.
And I like them as well, because why I do these types of interviews is I want to get people to see the person behind the fighter, because a lot of times people will see your 15 minutes or however long the fight lasts, and that's kind of what they see in a nutshell. Whereas I know the work you go in behind, and is that something you want to see as well? And let them in on, like, you have to get up like everyone else. You can do extraordinary things in the cage, and you do things that only 1% of the population do. But you still have to live life like everybody else. Do you think people forget that from the outside? I
think so, yeah. I think even just showing people, just show the highlights of, you're doing your fights, you're winning your fights. But realistically, it's every day going to the gym, grinding hard, and just, like, I just wanted to let people kind of into my world and see what it's like being an MMA fighter. Because a lot of people think, especially with UFC fighters and stuff like that they're living the high life and they're, like Sean O'Malley and his Lamborghini and stuff like that. But, he still trains hard every day. Like, I don't doubt it. So, I just wanted to let people in on that.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people think it's a lot flashier and it's a lot more glitz and glamorous than it actually is, because it's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of sacrifices and things you don't get to do that normal people, I don't want to say normal people, but civilians might get to do. But going on to, obviously, what you've just come back from with the gold medal, going into it, obviously, there was a lot. Yourself and Fufu were two people that were highlighted, obviously, because of he got gold early this year and you got gold last year. How did it feel to be pushed like that by IMMAF? Because I just kept seeing you. Every time I went to IMMAF, it was just Amy or Fufu, Amy or Fufu. How did it feel to get that push like that, and that they were so behind you going into the tournament?
It felt great, and it just goes to show that my hard work putting into those videos kind of paid off, because before I even went over, like last year when I went over to Worlds, I know I hadn't won it yet, but like, there wasn't much coverage or anything like that. Whereas this year, before I even came, they came to the SVG and did an interview with me and Nate and some of the lads. So it was nice to see that, like, the hard work I put into the videos, building a bit of a following, that kind of paid off, because they had a bit more interest in me this year to kind of promote me and show. And, like, the videos even I did, like, they did well. So, like, I think my final video was like 500,000 views or something like that. So, like, it's insane.
That's pretty cool, because I remember me and you done it live. I want to say it was before you went to the Worlds last year, or was it this year for the Europeans? I think it might have been last year. But I remember at the time that live had quite a few people on it, and I was like, well, I don't usually have this many people on it. And then I seen the views it done after. It kind of just shot through the roof, and it just showed everything you'd done till then had kind of spiked it up. But going over as Team Ireland, what does that mean to you? And one of the other things is, obviously, you're quite close with people. When you're winning and just say someone there has a loss, how hard is it to try and balance your emotions to kind of with their emotions, or do they understand it's part of the game, they've lost, they just want to be happy for you?
I think, like, if you're getting to the IMMAF level, you have a bit of a cop that if you lose, you lose, and if you're winning, then it's, you let the people that win feel great. Like, when I lost in Serbia, like, I sulked for a couple of minutes and picked myself back up, and then I stayed for the rest of the week and supported everyone else, up into their fights and stuff like that. So I think, like, you let people be happy if they win, and then also I supported everyone then who lost, and made sure I was there for them and stuff like that. But I think, like, when you're at that level, you let people have their moment, as well as also being there for people then when they lose. Yeah,
because you could see the guys that were out there, they were in the crowd. Most of the videos I was seeing was from competitors that were with you and they were out there supporting you. And how does that feel to like? What does that kind of unit and bond create with these people? Like, do you stay friendly with them after these tournaments? Because I would presume when you're with a group of people for a week, there is some sort of a bond with them. Talk to us about that and what that's like.
Well, like a couple of people from Team Ireland, you know, I get close with, like Jordan Scully. Like we have the same last name, so we bonded over that. But to be honest, like we're not much of a team. Like this year we had a lot of SPG people, so that made a big difference because I obviously train with them and know them all. But compared to last year, like it was only I think 4 of us from SPG, and then it was just us 4, and then the rest of Team Ireland went and did their own thing and stuff like that. So I feel like it's something that maybe we could all improve on, like the IMMA, whatever, doing more squad sessions and stuff like that. Because this year it was, there's only 12 of us, there wasn't that many. But a couple other times it doesn't really feel like there's a Team Ireland. It's just kind of whoever from which gym does what.
Yeah, I think, like you said, with more group sessions, a team bonding day, something fun.
Exactly, yeah.
So could influence that. But you got the second gold, right? You got TKO as well, which is something you really wanted. Talk to us about how that came about during the fight and your feeling in after, because I know that was something you really wanted because you subbed everyone. Yeah,
I wanted to show I can punch a little bit as well. But I watched, she actually had fought India the day before, so I was able to stay and watch that, and I could just see by the way she walked, like she would look like a good boxer, but the way she just moved, I could tell she couldn't grapple or wrestle, or she wasn't even thinking about it even in her fight. So I literally just came in, I swung a big overhand, right, and just like went straight for the double, got on top, and then just started smacking her in the face, I guess.
And how did that feel to get the TKO? Was it like, ooh, I done it? Was it?
Yeah, because I saw like the armbar, and I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. Like I don't think she has the grappling to. If I wanted to armbar her, I could. So I just like put my hand in her face and just started whacking her, and I was like, this feels great. I'm gonna keep going until your man stops me. So yeah, it was good. It was great. I was great to be able to get the TKO victory. Yeah,
and then obviously getting the gold medal again. What did that mean to you? What did that mean to your family? And what, like you more so, but what did that mean to you? To get the second one is it's hard to get the first one.
Yeah.
And especially with you being pushed, a lot of people would look at you and go, well, that's the person I want to beat, because if they beat you, they take your momentum.
Yeah.
So that sort of way. And then next year, if they go in, they're getting that push. So you've a bit of a target on your back. People are going to try and, they're always going to try and beat you, but there's that little bit extra, I think. What was it like to win that second one?
It was good. Like from the start, like even wearing the golden kit, like when you kind of stand out. Like whenever you're watching, there's 5 cages on, and you're watching, you see someone walk out in the golden kit, you're like, oh, that's the one I'm going to watch now for the next 10 minutes or however long it'll go on for. So, and even with IMMAF pushing me and stuff like that, I definitely felt there was a lot more of like, I had to prove myself. Like if I messed up, then it was all that promotion and stuff would have been for nothing. So I definitely felt a lot of pressure, and also ending up going against the girl that beat me in the Europeans in the final. I think that was the perfect way for it to play out. But I definitely felt a lot of pressure going into that. Like I needed to make sure and show that all the improvements I've made, like how hard I trained since that loss, all paid off, and it did, and it was amazing. It felt so good.
It's mad how it went full kind of circle like that as well, and it's kind of like a chapter closed on that loss. But like you've done fantastic so far. You do have a fight confirmed regionally in December. How do you feel about actually getting the fight regionally and being able to fight in Ireland, albeit it's not in Dublin, it's not too far, but like you can have a lot more people travel to the fights. Like what would that mean to you?
Oh, it feels great. Like it meant the world to me even at Clan Wars to have like my whole family there, not just my mum, like my dad, my brothers and everything, and even all my friends and stuff, they all came down to support me. So it's nice to be able to have that again and just have everyone be there when I win, because like after every win in the IMMAFs, it was just back to the apartment and and sit down for a bit with my mum and go yay, and then that was it. Like there wasn't much, so it'd be nice to be able to have everyone, and like it'll be nice to be down it's nice to be even have a night down in Cork and stuff, a little celebration then after I win, hopefully in December. So it's gonna be nice to have everyone there.
It's going to be my first time to see you live, so I'm really looking forward to that. The show is really well ran. It's only a new show. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm going to let you go. I'm going to ask you just 1 or 2 more questions as well, okay? So when because you're doing so well in MMA, and there still is a point that you need to get to, or your aspirations, what you want to do. When you're finished and done, obviously you're not thinking about that now, what if you had a word or a sentence that you wanted people to describe you in, what would you want people to think when they hear Amy Scully?
Perseverance. just, you know, getting back up again every single time, and just like, no matter what happens, I'm just going to keep going and never stop. And that's it. That's what I want to be remembered. Just someone who worked hard and went as far as I don't care how far, you know, I don't know how far I'm going to get in this, but I just want to be someone that never gave up and just kept going no matter what, and no matter what was thrown at them.
And with the kind of influx now of women's MMA and stuff like that, and like you said, when you came in, you were undersized to a lot of people, and there might be a lot of females out there that might be like that and are anxious to go into MMA because of it. What would you say to them? Because we've obviously seen your success, but like, we've talked about how you've kind of got there. What would you say to someone who's got doubts because they might be a bit smaller, they might be female?
Just do it. I mean, look what I've achieved. I've always been the smallest in my class. I've always been the smallest. You know, even in the gym downstairs, I was probably the smallest today. So just do it. Like, if you have the skill and the grit to train hard, then like, there's no reason why being a little bit small is going to stop you from doing something. Like, you know, you just got to do it and get big maybe, but I'll see how big I can get. But no, like even with that though, don't be afraid to like get a bit bigger and stuff like that. Like, I know a lot of girls, probably the thought of the scale going up and stuff like that it is true though, even like with myself, like even though I'm like going up a weight class. So, you know, don't be afraid to put on a bit of muscle, and also don't be afraid to just do it. Like, it doesn't matter if you're small.
Yeah, no, I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Had an incredible career today, and it's only the amateur stage of it as well. So I'm really excited to see you fight live, like I said, and I'm really excited to follow this journey. You've been an absolute amazing athlete and person to this stage, and I want to thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.